You know that Florida is one of the hot spots to visit in America, but you might not know it's also home to a gem of a model railroad. In between the water skiing and the flowers, step inside and take a trip along the eastern seaboard in HO gauge.
Welcome to summer, and fall, and spring, and winter. Winter Haven, that is. Welcome to the Cypress Junction Railroad in Winter Haven, Florida. Since 1983, this vast layout has been delighting visitors to Cypress Gardens, a place usually associated with water sports. And gators. And of course, the gardens themselves.
You'd have to go to over 80 countries to see everything you can see in one area, thousands of different plants.
There's even an elaborate railroad running through one of the gardens.
We have done all natural materials as much as possible. The buildings have been built out of leaves and sticks and twigs and acorns. The bridges are all built out of twigs and kept it as natural and different as possible. We run one European steam train down here, and then we also run some more modern trains, just keep things changed around.
But it's inside where you'll find one of the world's most popular railroad exhibits.
It's a quite elaborate display. There are great miniatures. There's a lot of elaborate little scenes in there, and it's really interesting because there's very obscure scenes and makes people think, where do I know that from? You know, it's great.
You can go from Florida to Maine on this HO layout, and you can enjoy all 4 seasons.
It gives you a feel for each section of the United States, what kind of a season goes on there, maybe what pertains to that. Like there's a little Oktoberfest going on, people enjoying lakes, Grand Canyon, that kind of a thing.
With all this track, more than 1,000 feet, you might expect to find a whole room full of people running the rails, but you won't. Or maybe you're expecting racks of computers making sure these trains run on time. Nope.
Actually, they're all on separate circuits, and somebody comes in the morning, an attendant who works here at the gardens comes in and flips 2 breakers in the room, and one of them is for lights and the other one is for trains, and they just come on and run all day.
But that doesn't mean there aren't people involved. It's thanks to the Cypress Gardens Model Railroad Society, a group of dedicated volunteers who keep everything going smooth and strong.
When this display originally came to Cypress Gardens, there was a call out for volunteers who had the love of the HO railroads, and they came in and they made sure everything was proper to scale, and they do come in and man that for us from time to time. It doesn't take a lot of upkeep or maintenance, but they come in and they really enjoy it, so they really enjoy coming out here for that.
For more than 15 years, they've made sure it looks great every day for the thousands of people who come to admire it.
Well, this is the workroom, and this is one of the things that all of us volunteers really like, because the Gardens has been very gracious to provide us with this big a room, and we have a lot of tools, a lot of machines that we can use, that a mill and a lathe and stuff like that we can use. But this is where we do the building of scenes. We try to build them back here and then install them out there so as not to take away from the layout on a longer period of time. These are some rock molds. The whole front of the layout is rock molds that we've made, and they're made out of latex rubber. And what we do is take an original rock or petrified wood or coal, makes a good base, and we paint the latex on there in layers, and you put some gauze, about the 2nd or 3rd layer of latex that you put on there, you put some gauze in there impregnated with the latex, and then paint 3 or 4 more coats, maybe a couple more coats of gauze, and you have a good mold. And then you pour the plaster in there, and you keep it for enough time to where it starts to cure a little bit, and then you just put it on where you want it to be.
It's this kind of attention to detail that makes this attraction a crowd pleaser. You realize as you stroll alongside the Cypress Junction that you're taking a trip, not just staring at a bunch of toy trains and fake trees.
That happens to be my particular thing. I mean, all the rest of us feel the same way, but I'm a detail freak. You know, if we're going to have a scene, it needs to look real. You don't want somebody to come in and say, is that something? You want them to come in and say, that's something, a particular scene. And that's what we're after with the people and making it look real. We try not to put a semi, for instance, in a place where the Jolly Green Giant would have had to pick it up and sit it down there. We try to make it so it could have backed in there, because that's the way it should be if it's going to be looking realistic.
There's no way you can gaze over this meandering layout without realizing the love and passion this club has for this railroad. It's just one of the reasons that no matter which season you choose, it's always warm and exciting in Cypress Junction.